Hello everyone, this is PHTV4. I'm Sue Jankowski and we are Meet with Moraine today, where we have a program talking about Moraine Valley Community College, which is in Palos Hills. I'm sure by now you're probably all familiar with it. You've gone there, you've been by there, or if you're thinking about it, we always bring you information that is going to be very helpful to you or your family to participate in so many of the events that happen there, or go to class, learn something new. We're really excited because we always have some really interesting news for everybody. Today we have Dr. Michael Espinoza, who is the Department Chair of Public Service and Associate Professor of Criminal Justice. So he's got a great big title here. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's really great to have him here. And Mike was here a few years ago, but you know, time passes, things change, and we like to kind of refresh your memory as to the different opportunities that you might have at Moraine Valley Community College. First, Mike, we always like to hear a little bit about you and what brought you to Moraine Valley. Now, you've been there for a while. Yeah. When did you get there, and what brought you to Moraine Valley?
So I first began working at Moraine Valley Community College in January of 2010. I started off as an adjunct instructor teaching criminal justice. I eventually rolled into a full-time teaching position, which is what I'm doing now. As a little time passed, I actually became the criminal justice program coordinator and the department chair for public service actually at the same time, and I've been in that role for about 6 years. So that's where I've come from and where I am now.
Okay. Now, what do you enjoy about this particularly? Because there's always something that draws you into a certain field or a certain location like Moraine Valley. What do you enjoy about this?
Well, I like Moraine Valley, first of all, because I think Moraine Valley, as they say, has something for everybody. It's just a great environment. There's so much support by so many different people, not just by us faculty, but by everybody else who works, behind the scenes, so to speak. I think Moraine Valley has really great students. They seem to be very eager to learn. I really enjoy teaching. I've always wanted to teach, and I finally had the chance to do that. And I think what I like most about being there is I like to see how students progress from the beginning until they graduate and eventually move on to whatever their career choices are. For me, specifically criminal justice students. I'll oftentimes run into students out and about who are, doing what they intended to do, and that, makes me feel pretty good and pretty proud that I had some part in that.
It's really satisfying to know that you've helped someone along the way get to their goals, and I think that's what is nice about teaching, that you can get them to the next spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the Public Service Department. Like, what kind of services would it be? Like, what are the programs? What are you trying to focus on to do in your future?
Okay, so the Department of Public Service is comprised of 10 different programs. They're degree and certificate programs, a mix of that. Criminal justice, homeland security, emergency management, security loss prevention, paralegal, EMS, fire science, recreation health and recreation management, and also physical education and health. So that's the 10 programs. I think I got them all. And
sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide area that we cover in public service. And by the name public service, as you can see by the different courses, these are fields that do work with the public directly. So that's.
I mean, that's a huge amount of and diversity in there from. EMT, recreation, to criminal justice, and those are all public service things. I'm not sure that everybody would know that all is under that umbrella. That's huge.
It is, sure is.
Yeah. Oh, so you can get a degree or a certificate. So are most people, generally are people coming in, students coming in looking for a little education to move on to the next thing, or are they looking for a degree? Or both? How does that work?
Well, it really depends on the area that they're earning their studies in. Fire science, for example, would be for people that want to go into firefighting. There are students at the college who are in an actual fire academy almost at any given time. So I don't know where they would go beyond that education-wise, but at the very least, they go to an academy to get them certified to go into firefighting. Same thing with EMS, criminal justice, policing. I always want to make sure students understand that we're not a police academy. We're here on the academic side of things to prepare you for the theory and so forth. So it's a 2-year degree. A lot of students will take that, and some of them will go on to a 4-year school. Others may not, but I think some of those are preparing themselves for at least meeting the minimum qualifications to join a police department, which would be a 2-year degree, so they can enter a police academy. There's sheriff's departments they can enter as well. There's just a variety of different areas they can go into. Paralegal, they can become qualified paralegals and go right to work once they're done with that program as well. So it just depends on what their end goal really is. Some of them may decide to go on and continue their education. I was one that did that. I wasn't satisfied with going to school for 2 years. I went ahead and got my 4-year degree and then my master's degree. And then eventually when I got into teaching, I got my doctorate. So it just depends on what your goals are.
I think that's really interesting to bring out too, that sometimes you start at the junior college trying to figure out what is it that I'm going to do. Right. And then you move on from that. You get that 4-year degree and so forth. And there's no limit to what you can do. You're just going to be at a different school or jumping around or like honing in what you want to do. And that's what it sounds like you did in your, started teaching, you knew you wanted to do that, and then you went on to get more and more education.
Well, it also depends on what happens during your career. Sometimes things you find out about different opportunities, and you decide, you know what, I want to go to school and learn about that. So I'll go back to school. My initial plan was to become a police officer or whatever I became, and then as I worked the job for a while, I discovered that in order for me to do this, I have to have more education. So I better go back to school. So it really just depends. It's an ongoing thing. It's fluid. You can't really say, I'm going to go to school and get my 2-year degree or 4-year degree, and that's going to be it. I didn't know that when I went to school that I was going to continue on. I had no idea that I would go as far as I did with school, and it's served me well. But again, I didn't initially set out to do that.
Exactly. I think that's just so important. I mean, someone like you with this path that wasn't like a straight line. You go to a 4-year school and then this happens and that happens. It's kind of a developmental thing. And as you get older, you realize more and more what appeals to you and what you'd be good at. Right. I think, that's something to keep in mind. That's why, I always highly recommend starting at Moraine Valley Junior College because it's a great start, got great people there, and then you can kind of go along from there or not. Because now you have certificate options that train you for something, like, I don't know, like a paralegal kind of job.
Correct.
Is that like a certificate type of thing?
That's a certificate. With that, you would qualify to become a paralegal and work in a law office. I know that in the paralegal program, and I don't know everything about the program, I don't coordinate it, it's just under the Department of Public Service, but I do know that part of that process is students are required to serve in an internship in a law office in preparation for their eventually being out in the field as a paralegal. So that's just an example of how that works. Okay,
and I think that internship is so important too.
Yeah.
Then you can decide, I really don't like this, or this is more than I thought, or I need to go to more school. All of those things.
Right.
Okay, so I'm kind of curious about the Homeland Security. I mean, does that's kind of like a 2-year kind of thing?
That's a certificate program as well. There's just a variety of areas you can go into in Homeland Security. I couldn't even begin to, create a list of all the different opportunities you can do at the federal level. It's a good program where it exposes you to the different things that people working in Homeland Security and emergency management, what they do with regard to natural disasters or other types of disasters, or something big, prepares you for it. It just enables you to see what there is and learn more about it. Just like anything else I was mentioning before, you kind of find out as you go along what you can do and what there is. And I have students who come into class with the idea that I want to do this or I want to do that, and as they go along, they kind of figure it out in a more direct path because they've learned about it, or they've had a chance to have an internship, or they've discuss things with other students or with us as faculty who are either in the field or have been in the field, which is something I think is also important too, because everyone in criminal justice, everybody in the other programs I mentioned, are as faculty are either in the field currently or have been in the field. That's the one thing that we can proudly say, is that that's what we have for faculty, that we've been there, done that, so to speak. And I think students appreciate that because they know they're talking with someone that's been there and knows what they're talking about, and can be a good provider for information, which is which was important to me when I was a student as well.
Yeah, it is. It's not just theoretical. They've had the experiences,
right,
and they have real life experience that they can relate to the students. And I think that's really important. It's not just I think, or but they know. It's
right,
very good, and that's a great way to get education. So now, I guess who does this appeal to? Like, who would want to be in public services? I once had a nephew say he wanted to be in public services. So, what kind of a person does that draw?
Well, public service, just as the name says, it's serving the public. It's there to provide services to people in various ways. Like, I'll speak about policing. I was a police officer, so I can speak about that. I always tell my students that I became a police officer because I wanted to serve the public and help those that really can't help themselves. There's no feeling better than doing something for somebody, solving a problem, directing them to the right place they need to go to get something done legally, not as an attorney, of course, but as a law enforcement professional. We can provide services to people, just as I said, helping people and just being there to keep society flowing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of person that takes that type of direction, public service, not just policing, but fire science as well, keeping the community safe and just being a community partner.
Yeah. So important to have people like that. You have advisory boards for each program to make sure that the students are properly prepared. So who are these boards, and how do they meet their goals?
Well, advisory board members are people that are asked to be a part of our advisory boards because they're in the field, most likely. They can provide, up-to-date information about what's currently being sought after, what are some of the shortcomings that they've seen with some of their people that are in the field now. Public service all around just develops, it changes. Laws change, just the society has new interests and so forth. So it's important that we as faculty are doing what we have to do to prepare our students so that they can go out in the field and be the best candidate for those jobs. So when we have these advisory boards, which we have minimally annually, we meet with these people and discuss different things. We provide them with information about what we're currently doing in the classroom, and then we look for feedback, and they either tell us, hey, that's a great thing you're doing, or I would probably do this, or I would probably do that, to probably keep in tune with what's needed out there. So that's the importance of advisory boards, and I think they're important. So
it sounds really important because things actually do change, and if they're really into it, they know what those changes are, and they can advise what direction the education should go. That's really good.
Right.
Okay, so you're really, it sounds like you're more the criminal justice program type person.
Well, as a coordinator, yes, criminal justice, and I teach specifically criminal justice courses, but I get involved in the other programs in my department, which I actually like being a part of different things. I just like to be involved in different things. I
Yeah.
think it's exciting to learn about other programs and what they do. So I sit down with the coordinators of the other programs, which, by the way, every program that I mentioned has its own coordinator. So I get to learn about what they do and keep in tune with what they do, and I'm there to support them with whatever they need. I just find it fascinating to learn more about what these other programs do and kind of how we all kind of tie together and work together and kind of get that job done. So
Yeah.
I found that to be pretty fascinating, actually.
And it's nice because with students too, when you have that kind of knowledge, you can kind of help them figure out where they fit and what avenue they should be going to.
Right. So I have a student. I'll have a student. They may say, you know, I'll poll students when I first meet them. What's your interest when you graduate? What are you looking to do? Well, I want to go into law. Okay. Well, this is the great place. This is a great place to start. You might want to talk to, you know, this professor who runs that program, or who coordinates paralegal or whatever the different interest students may have. And I can point them in that direction and give them a much better path to follow than just going through school blindly and finding out as they go along or down the road somewhere. We can help get them on the right path earlier and help them be more successful earlier. So I like that too.
Well, that's so important because you don't know when you're new to any of these fields, what should I do? What classes do I take? Am I in the right place? So that's a tremendous help. Now, the Criminal Justice Program partners with Cook County Sheriff Training Institute and the Illinois Department of Corrections. So how does that partnership work?
Well, the Cook County Sheriff's Correctional Academy is actually located at the college. They have an ongoing group of students that, students/recruits that are going through their academy training. Right there, literally, there's classrooms right across the hall from my own classroom, and you know we see them. My students see them. We have the opportunity to speak with some of their instructors, or sometimes they'll come in and talk to our students and give them a little advice about what they're looking for. So it's like having like a little, immediate insight that the average person may not have.
Yeah.
So what the recruits do is they attend an academy. While they're there, they also earn college credit as well, or at least the potential to do that. So that's just an ongoing thing. That's another avenue that we have. A lot of my students have gone through the Cook County Sheriff's Academy. They see it. They're like, I think I want to do that. So they, join the Sheriff's Department, and I'll see them in the hallway as recruits, and that's satisfying as well. I know that had something to do with them being there and having that interaction.
Right. So then you're saying that's kind of a separate entity, but it's right there at the college.
Right. Moraine Valley and the Cook County Sheriff's Department are two entirely separate entities. That's correct. We have no ability to, segue a student into their academy at all, but they are there, as I said before, and it just allows students to ask questions of instructors that are roaming the halls, myself as well. I can get up-to-date information from them too about, requirements and things like that. But no, they are not together. They are separate, and they operate separately. But we have that partnership that I mentioned where they can earn college credit while they're in the academy.
That's good to know because you don't have to go far to get that training over there as well. Right. Very good. There's a new forensics and crime scene investigation class, with all these crime shows on TV. I think, that's really heightened people's interest in forensics and crime scene investigations. So do you have a lot of people involved in that? What does that entail? Is it just one class?
So that class is CRJ 203. It's a brand new class, and in fact, we're going to start our first class, provided everything falls into place as I believe it will. In August. It'll be the first class that'll actually run. We've been developing it for over a year. It does take some prep time and whatnot. And that class is a class that is a required course for the degree, which we just revamped our curriculum to be a 60 credit hour course or program rather than what it was before when it was 62 hours. And that class was put in place as a required core class as well. To take that class, you have to complete our CRJ 202 class, which is another investigative class. But this class you're talking about is hands-on. It has a lab built into the class as well as in the classroom. It should be a pretty exciting class. Once students get a chance to actually take the class, they'll be involved in mock crime scenes and be able to put their hands on things. And I've always felt that, myself included, as a criminal justice person, I'm a very hands-on type of person. I learn better that way, and I think it'll really be a big draw. Although it's a required course, it'll be a course that students will really anticipate taking.
I believe it, because it does sound interesting. And any kind of lab course, makes it real, and that makes it really a good way to learn. So if someone said, okay, I want to be involved in this, but I don't know what my avenue is, I don't know where I should start, what should a student do? To become involved in any of the criminal justice program, any of the public service programs, because it's so broad. What should they do? Should they just go online and read something? Could they come in?
Yeah, so the information is available online on the Moraine Valley Community website. I always have inquiries from the public asking me directly, what do I have to do? And, to get things going more rapidly and more directly, I refer them to the academic advisors over in the S building on the main campus, and the advisors are well versed in what we have, what our courses are, what it takes to get your degree. That's what they're there for, to help students put their academic calendar together from start to finish, and they help them set up their classes, not just criminal justice, but the other courses they have to take, their electives and their general education courses as well. So they would have to sit down and meet with an advisor. But again, I get inquiries through the email. If they want to speak to me, I'll give them a call. I'll do that. But ultimately, I will just send them to an advisor, because that's the actual way to start.
Okay. If someone wanted to get started, classes start in August.
Yes.
Is it too late to?
No.
No,
you can register for a course even day one of the semester. That's not uncommon, actually. A lot of people tend to wait a little bit. I mean, as faculty, we kind of wish that students wouldn't wait that long.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
makes life a lot easier if they would register as soon as they can. I know that isn't always possible. There's financial aid that has to be put into place. There's just a variety of reasons why students don't do it right away. But in a perfect world, they would register right now. This is only June, but they should register right now for the fall semester. And the spring semester starts in January. So same thing. They need to register as soon as they can and get themselves going.
Yeah, I think it's really important to do that too, and it's good to know that you can still in June, because sometimes you have to register early, and sometimes classes fill up and you can't get into the classes you want.
Right.
So the earlier the better, really. Before we go, Mike, is there anything else this is such a huge topic. You have so much in your department. Is there any other thing that we kind of missed that you'd like to talk about?
Well, yeah, actually, so the last 2 years in a row, we've put together a showcase event for public service. It's only gotten bigger from the first year to this past year, and it runs every year during the month of February. A lot of advertising gets put out there, and what it is, it's an event that where we invite various departments, agencies, policing, fire, all the different programs in our department, and they have their professionals come in and they set up a table and they bring information so that anybody from the public can come in or our existing students can come in and talk with the people that are in these departments and agencies and get information about the hiring process, timelines, requirements for education, things like that. and it's a huge event. It's only gotten bigger, and we anticipate this to get bigger as we go along. It's been very successful. This does take a lot of prep work, so the other faculty members in our department are primarily the ones that put this together. I've honestly haven't really myself done too much of the legwork. I'm able to say that this was done more so by my fellow faculty. I've just been there to be supportive as much as I can. But
it's important.
There was I'll give you an example. It was probably 50 plus tables set up in one big in our Moraine room in the M building.
Wow.
And I just said it's only gotten bigger, and it's very successful. People come in, a lot of great feedback from that. It's an opportunity for students, again, to ask questions directly. They don't really know where to go or who to talk to.
Right.
And this is a way of us bringing them to our students and to the public so they can come in and ask questions. And like I said, I think it's just a really great thing that we started doing, and that's probably the biggest thing that we've done since I was here last that we've developed.
And that is just like a drop-in? Do you register for that?
No, you can respond to the inquiry if you're interested. Do you plan to attend? There is also the opportunity to provide feedback after the event, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see more of, and it's always been very positive. It's been very positive, actually. And you can find out about it. As I said, it gets publicized. You could just come on in and just walk around and visit who you'd like to visit and talk to who you'd like to talk to. And,
how do people find out about it?
So the college marketing people, we go through them directly, and they take care of all the marketing for us. Word of mouth, right here on the cable channel.
Yes.
Another avenue.
Good.
February of every year we do this.
Okay.
So be looking for that. We get the word out as much as we can, but we rely heavily on our marketing department to help us with that.
Yeah, and they probably let the local high schools and so forth know.
Oh yeah, we let the high schools know about it ahead of time, and so we definitely get the word out. It shows because we get a really big turnout. Hundreds of people come through this.
That's fantastic.
It's only about a 4-hour period, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's exciting. Okay, look for that in February, or kind of click into the Moraine Valley website periodically, and you're going to find some information there about events that are happening at Moraine Valley, and you'll notice that one if you're interested in doing that. And that sounds like a great way to jump off if you're any age, because some people like to change their career. Some people have a second career. It could be young, old people, older people. I guess you'd have a mixture of young people looking to change a job, or older people too.
Most of my students are probably in the 18 to 20-year-old age range, but I have students who are, a few years older than that, stop in because they're maybe not satisfied with their current role and career and so forth, or they've always had the interest but never had the time. But now I can, so they come in and
that's awesome.
And change career fields.
Nice.
Happens all the time.
Dr. Michael Espinoza, thank you so much for coming in today. This is fascinating information, and I think it's great information for our viewers. I hope you, find that maybe this is something that's really interesting to you or one of your family members. And thanks for watching us. We'll see you next month when we meet with Moraine again. Bye for now.